Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is One of One, but you can call me Seven. And our two heroes seem to be in pretty dire straits, at the mercy of Alice and her magecraft here. Sort of like a puppeteer or a summoner. I'm not really sure how to classify Alice as a witch, but I do know that she's dangerous, and we've gotten a good sense of scale, or at least power scaling, for between her and Alco. Regardless, though, things have gotten pretty bad because now Alco and Shizuki can't get out of the bounded field, and so now they need to come up with a different plan. It seems, though, that after a bit of a confession, whichever way you want to take that, they've managed to steal the resolve and come up with a plan. And we'll get to see how that plan unfolds in today's episode. So let's do it. They split up. You're sure? She was filled with foreboding at the Robin's report. Apparently, they had gone in opposite directions. The park's residents had set off after the boy witness, and it would take them mere minutes to capture him, so the birds said. What do you mean? Is it actually him they're following? Not Alco in disguise? The robin flapped its wings, tripping away any doubt. It had seen them with its own two eyes. Alco was heading for the plaza while the cocky brat was making a run for the roller coaster. Are you saying that Alco abandoned him? It sounds a little too good to be true. Is Dumpty still on his tail? The robin nodded enthusiastically. It didn't know about the other birds, but with its superior night vision, it had seen that sucker clearly because he had moved to a high point. And Dumpty? He said to let him sing to the very end, that he may never get the chance again to do so for a fool this asinine? Crash Dumpty was a ticking time bomb that would drop and detonate the moment its target averted its gaze. That is, as long as his target continued to observe him. In a way, he was a gentlemanly ploy kickshaw, though Alice wished he would forego such niceties when in battle. Let him have his fun. Keeping an eye on Dumpty won't save the boy anyway. Once the poem on his surface is complete, the door will open. No matter how far he runs, Dumpty will end him for us. Until the park, or rather the Snark, was destroyed, Sojiro would not be able to escape, which meant the larger concern was Alco. Alco had promised to protect the boy, which begged the question. Where was she running to? As long as we stay here, we can't track Alco. Alice looked out over the park, ignoring the robin's attempt to get her attention with its plumage. Flat Snark had nearly reached its full size. It was a different breed of beast compared to the other cheap ploys. To her, it was one of her three most irreplaceable and precious familiars, right? Okay, so I need to be able to conceptualize how this is working, right? Because the terminology they've given us over this past chapter, they've given us so much lore. They've exposited all over us. We've got so these are familiar. She took Flat Snark out of a capsule, I think, or out of a jar or some kind of container. And it's a ploy kickshaw that grows and brings to life things that have long since been dead or abandoned, I think. Completely transforms things, and it makes them monsters, essentially. But this whole place is one entity, Flat Snark. And that's what she calls it, because I think it has a different name. I'm just trying to keep this all straight in my head, guys. Seriously. Might need some help. She's all yours, Snark. Don't hold back until Alco is brought to her knees. Alice remained where she was. With the same historical merit as the troll under the bridge and the poison-clawed reptile, Flat Snark was one of Alice's ultimate ploys. Oh, she was placing her trust in its reputation and ability. But don't forget, this is a game. When the contest is over, return to me. The drifting fog ignored its master's words. It was the one thing that Alice had misread. Flat Snark was a king. Even among the other ploys, of terrible, vulgar antics. Death to the defeated. Gruesome tragedy to the vanquished. It found no pleasure unless it brought about dramatic ruination of life and wealth. The fog billowed like a wicked laughter. After all, only a king had the right to decide the fate of the vanquished, and the Snark's greed could not be contained. Thus, it hadn't even the slightest intent to play fair, despite its master's orders. What can Alice do to keep Flat Snark in check anyway? I know that how is it in servitude to her? As it is one of her familiars, right? Can she punish it? Okay, so he's over 100 feet high. One careful step at a time, the figure made its way gingerly up the track which stretched into the heart of the amusement park. He stayed his beating chest and the pounding of his breath. Even tiny movements were an obstacle to his progress. Amazingly, the one making this pale-faced advance higher and higher was Sojiro Shizuki. Far below, he saw that a horde of bread creatures had congregated by the roller coaster platform. As they bustled this way and that, their numbers continued to increase by the minute, seemingly cheering on Sojiro with raised arms as he made his ascent. Or rather, they jeered, as if beckoning him to come down. Well, at least they don't like heights. Of course, neither did Sojiro, but his current state was the lesser of two evils. The only thing that followed him now was the floating egg. After heaving a huge sigh, Sojiro bent forward a bit and climbed the track that inclined toward the heavens. 150 feet now. If this were a skyscraper, it would be on the 16th floor. Oh, wind? A strong gust of wind whipped through his hair. Humans had an instinctual fear of heights. In particular, a place like this, which called forth visions of falling to one's death, would cause a person's knees to tremble against their will. It was an instinct that forewarned death, urging its master to return to the safety of the ground. It was a reasonable reaction. Climbing the roller coaster tracks went beyond funny stories and into the realm of fantasy. The strong winds and change in air pressure were a hindrance. His instinct screamed at him to stop, causing his limbs to go numb, his muscles to go limp, and his mind to race. Even if he had been tied to a lifeline, a mere 15 feet of climbing would still have caused his thoughts to freeze out of sheer terror. And it would only get worse from here, exponentially so. Every foot forward increased the load on both his mind and his body by another degree. He can do this. Just a little bit more to the top. The burden on his mind notwithstanding, he carefully measured the toll on his body with every step. His legs, which had carried him running this far, threatened to buckle the moment he let down his guard. This fatigue was likely why Aoko had stressed that Sojiro's role was more dangerous than hers. Wait, would Elzaki have been so worried if I wasn't tired? Sojiro laughed as he stared at the floating egg. He reflected on the course of events that had led to this absurd situation. Not even 10 minutes ago, they had been engaged in conversation. Are you going to tell us now? Okay, so we need to talk about... Oh, right. Sojiro made an observation and told Aoko, and then she went, it surely cannot be that easy. But now that they've talked about it, like, okay, well, this is the form it's taken, so now we need to talk about how we're going to destroy Flat Snark. Right? Sojiro felt a shudder travel down his spine at Aoko's smug grin. In hindsight, Aoko had been more than happy at this point to make him do something absurd. How we're going to destroy it? Can't you just... Sojiro wondered aloud. From what he'd seen, Aoko had enough firepower to tear clean through the fence. He'd refrained from speculating about Flat Snark's true form because he'd felt there was nothing they could do about it, even if they did know. But that had changed. For Aoko, the impossible was quite literally within her grasp. It won't be that easy. By my estimate, I wouldn't get within 150 feet of the thing. Despair filled Sojiro's eyes. Aoko lifted a hand to her long hair and, with a magically charged fingertip, clipped a clean tuft of it. We can make up the difference with some elbow grease. Get to the highest place you can. When the time is right, I'll give you a sign. Just toss this into the air. That's all you need to do. Based on where Aoko pointed her gaze, she did not really mean to leave it up to Sojiro to pick the highest place he could find. She was staring conspicuously at one of the amusement park's two main attractions, the roller coaster. So, in other words, you're saying we split up, and you want me to run away from the monsters chasing me and escape to somewhere high, right? Look at her, man. I love her smug faces. They're the best. Exactly. And hey, wouldn't you know it? The tracks of that winding roller coaster are perfect. There were two demons in this park. Her smile made even Sojiro want to respond that it was far from perfect. Or be from me to question your motives here, but you're not secretly working with that girl to kill me, are you? No. Wasn't it you who said it was okay if I was the one who killed you? It's not nice to twist other people's words. Big pout. Sojiro hung his head. This was not sane. If he did as she said, he would die from exhaustion before Kitsy even had a chance to eat him. I'm not a monster. Hey, look at me. I'll cast a charm on you. A charm? That's a new one. It was the lightest of touches, close enough for their breath and skin to come in contact. Oh. Oh. Oh? Zaki, he finished with a hushed voice. For one of them, this was a rather mundane magecraft. For the other, it was a head-spinning, intimate ambush. The weight of the air, the tremble of one's breast. Be light and frail, nimble and fast. Tick-tock, tick-tock, there's no time to waste. Light lags behind while shadows pull ahead. Words that could not be produced by a normal larynx carrying a peculiar weight to them reverberated against his eardrums. If words were given colors, these would have been the color of her name. Blue. Sojiro's exhausted body and burning blood gently cooled. A bird in the sky, a fish in the sea, you in the distance. Stuffed out in anxiety in a sack. Begin the journey at dawn. Shining star falls into your heart. In reality, it took but a few seconds, but the sudden contact had felt a little longer. Mesmerized successful. I think. This is the first time I've actually felt it take. I guess all those lectures from Alice paid off. A very merry Aoko stood aside a very confused Sojiro. After he asked what the heck had occurred, she responded, "It's an elementary suggestion. I temporarily erased your sense of fear, so you should be able to climb up there no problem. The biggest thing standing in your way is your nerves, right? If you don't feel fear, then no matter how high you climb, it's no different from walking a balance beam." He seemed to get it. It actually all sounded like Greek to Sojiro, but he accepted it as an explanation for her strange actions. He seemed to get it. He actually had no idea what was going on, but you know, it was whatever. Alright, he's made it. He'd arrived at the summit of the track. From nearly 200 feet high, Sojiro had a bird's eye view of the entire amusement park. He was able to spot Aoko's figure right away. In the plaza not so far from her, she seemed to be occupied with something conspicuous. Her surroundings lay still. The breadmen were still busy trying to figure out how to reach Sojiro by trial and error from the roller coaster's entrance. They were over 300 feet away now. No wonder I'm drenched in sweat. Look how much ground I've covered. Strong winter gales quickly dried the sweat on his brow, but he was drenched underneath his shirt. This much sweat was worth at least a half-mile run, not to mention all the scares he had experienced throughout the night. Okay. Now all I have to do is wait for the signal. He felt a wave of relief, but not at the thought of Aoko destroying the Snark in this nightmarish park. He was simply happy that he could repay a bit of his debt from the House of Mirrors. Oh, good for you, buddy. What a guy. What a fella. Oh! That it? A blue bullet rose from the plaza where Aoko was located. That's the signal! Sojiro stood up atop the tracks, pulled out the pouch he had stowed in his pocket, and tossed it forward. Without any regard for his questionable footing, he gave it a mighty overarm pitch. The small pouch drew a parabolic curve in Aoko's direction, quickly becoming untied in midair. Inside the bag was the lock of her hair and a small stone weight. "Just throw it with the wind from somewhere high up and I'll take it from there," Aoko had said. But it was Sojiro's effort that had set the plan in motion. The tuft of hair remained airborne, drifting as if watching over its owner. Sojiro's job was done. He remained concerned about the egg, hovering over him, but there was nothing he could do about it. He breathed a sigh of relief and leaned forward to watch the rest of the plan unfold. But then... in the corner of his eye, he thought he spotted something familiar approaching Aoko. Is it Alice? Did she come down? Because she was like, Aoko's a threat. Connecting to crest. Holy crap. Aoko? I wonder what she's doing. Oh, this looks cool. Direct current crests. First layer, second layer, third layer reserved. Magical energy supply fixed to greater source. Flow, check. Angle, check. Formula stability. Good enough. A pattern began to carve itself into the brick street. The casting of an unprecedented incantation with unprecedented range. Keeping the rising tension contained with her chest, the fledgling mage snapped her fingers. Done. Bullet configuration. Convergent launch. She kneeled at the center of the formula and raised her head to the night sky. Not even a glimpse of the transmogrified fantasy land around her entered her vision now. Only one thing, one untouchable thing was reflected in her blue eyes. So, this has been on my mind for a while now. This is how their conversation started a few minutes prior. Sojiro began with a simple statement of fact. In truth, it really was the simplest of discrepancies. Any difference between the reality of an hour ago and the illusion of the present was both infinitesimal and infinite. Jesus Christ. I thought maybe I didn't know what I was looking at because of the clouds. It was hiding in plain sight, too impossible to be real, too outlandish to be here. In this amusement park where every paradigm had shifted, something was brazenly flaunting its normalcy. Come on, man. That's so like, what? That's so... Oh, I don't know. That's kind of sick. Tonight is supposed to be a new moon, Alzaki, and yet... the moon is full. Yeah. Come to think of it, that's actually what you started as. The distance from the Earth to the moon was 238,900 miles. Thank you, game. If it truly was identical to the actual moon, then this monster indeed lived up to its eerie reputation. At a distance that vast, there would have been no need to hide. It could flaunt its true form for all to see. But if it had to hide its true form, that meant it was vulnerable. The monster's camouflage implied that it sat within the reach of a human hands. At best, my max range is 650 yards or so. this point, it was time to give it all she had. Drawing on the energy surging throughout the park, she extended her firing arm. Was that her firing the signal? A blue firework launched into the air. There we go. Looking up at her hair dancing in the wind above, Aoko reached out her right hand as if to catch the night sky. A mage's own body made for the perfect catalyst, and for a female mage, the hair she had grown out over many years made for a particularly valuable and powerful source of fuel. To use it, all she had to do was apply her will. She locked the fingers on both her hands together and shouted, "Deploy third layer! All formula! Commence linked activation!" Oh, is it like a cannon? Holy shit, it kinda, oh my god, it's like an orbital laser. Except the opposite. Orbital is going, yeah, you guys understand what I'm saying. She hurled forth a clear challenge to bind the moon to herself. Wait, what does that mean, bind the moon to herself? The mist began to whirl about in a vortex. The monster high above bored its fangs at the sight of the blue spell that appeared in midair. Did she figure it out? By the time Alice had noticed the change, the hostility between Aoko and the Snark was palpable. Very well. This round goes to Aoko. Return immediately. Perhaps removing the rain clouds was too obvious a hint, but I suppose one can't win them. Flat Snark? The fog continued to thicken with no sign of abating. The moon that floated in the night sky could not pardon such an insolent mage. As if the Lord of the Night would bow down to such impudence. There was no staying its wrath at a challenge so flagrant. Snark! The robin swooped in to give its report, but Alice waved it away. Her gaze was fixed on the transforming golden moon. Her calls of restraint did not reach it. This fairy tale monster was beholden to nobody, and it would have no qualms unleashing its vast might upon its puny prey. Meanwhile, she's charging up the Death Star. The core of her magic bullet howled. The magic circuits within her body spun. Aoko fed them magical energy, scorching her nerves with imaginary flame. She was linked to the formula inscribed on the ground. The spell was read and executed the same as it always was. But its output was beyond reckoning. With this much firepower, even this mundane process would invite injury upon its caster. It was enough to burn up the nerves that were acting as the barrel. She's built different, though. She's got that talent, right? She's definitely not as practiced, accomplished, or knowledgeable as Alice, but she's got this, if anything. The imaginary heat had reached a terrifying temperature. Aoko trembled at this endless feeling, but would have to grin and bear it, lest their efforts come to naught. Aoko could no longer move. When she had learned the Snark's true form from Sojiro, she gave up on any superiority a movable turret offered, instead opting to become a stationary cannon. That was the only way she could reach it. It was impossible to hunt the Snark unless she anchored her crest at this location and angle. At the same time, this action revealed that she was out of options. Once the fuse was lit, she would have no choice but to fight to the bitter end. Aoko took a deep breath. This was the way she wanted it. Her preparations were complete. She would be able to deliver this maelstrom of magical energy directly to the moon like a rocket payload. The third midair layer served as the cannon's muzzle and sight. It would fire the magical energy once it reached criticality. That was the word I just read, and it allowed Aoko to adjust the angle of fire. Fog? The moon became warped within her scope. Is it transforming into a golden moon, like Alice said? Or maybe thought? I'm not sure. As Aoko charged her magical energy, the ploy displayed its golden form as if to mock her. Come, worship the heavens, powerless scion of an innocent bloodline. For there it was, a point among the otherworldly sky, a mystical visage, obfuscated by jade mists and azure clouds, called the greatest treasure known to the world of magecraft. A rarity more valuable than an entire kingdom. Crown Phantasm. I recognize that word from Type Moon things. Except normally it's Noble Phantasm. That's it. That's Flat Snark, set apart from the first, the world's greatest fabrication. Oh, Aoko, not yet. Just need a little more time. Her instinct screamed at her to delay no further. This fairy tale monster was the greatest of its kind, and it was about to expose its true form. Its open hostility made it clear that it was ready to counterattack. I can't move. Not with an incantation this long. If it attacks before me, it's all over. She had to shoot it down first. Magical energy was at 80%. The formula was operating normally. All that was left was to pull the trigger, but a calm voice inside her head asked if that was really okay. She had one shot at this, and there was no going back. It was a battle of precision with no room for miscalculations. Even a tenth of a second of hesitation would tip the scales. Was she ready for the pain? Was she ready to deal with the fallout if she missed? Could she really even take down the moon with such a tiny bullet in the first place? Enough! Shoot first, ask questions later. Her eyes fixed upon the moon were filled with determination. She knew that the moment she fired, the intense recoil would overwhelm her entire body. Still, she shouted. Bring it on! I'm gonna send this thing spinning with all I've got! With every ounce of spirit she possessed, she fired her ultra long-range projectile into the sky. Pew! Oh my god! Oh my god, it is super anime! Holy shit! It isn't. Oh my god, it's a laser. It's a sky laser. The third layer embraced the magic bullet fired from the surface of the earth. Look at this thing. Look at the arc on this thing. The width of the beam, the crest and extension of Ako's self unleashed light to pierce the moon. However, ooh, this is sick actually. Look at all the waves of power. Oh! Big ball of ice. An enormous blue canopy pulverized the beam. It returned the ether, that 3,000 degree flame, to nothing as it came in contact with the bullet. Shit. The recoil of the Grand Magecraft literally boiled her blood. Her body couldn't handle it. Her heart stopped. Her brain went numb from the pain and impact. Her nerves putrefied from end to end, but her magic crest revived them all by force. Breathe, damn you! Ice? It was blocked by ice. Even though her vision had gone white, she could still see it. Swallowing the blood in her mouth, Ako looked up with a scowl. Oh, Jesus Christ. There it was. An enormous shield of ice and a sneering, deformed skull. Did I fire too late? Did I fire too early? Should I have shot before it made that shield? Was it too reckless to shoot it head on? Who cares? First layer, second layer, reactivate, hurry! There was no time to think or hesitate. Magical energy throughout the park began to gather. Ako knelt across from the tyrannical face of the moon. She intuited that the ice had yet to fully form. Flat Snark still hadn't reached its full strength, which was exactly why. Damn it! By accelerating the spell, Ako damaged her own body. The burden of linking the formula to the Snark caused intense pain. All she could do was grit her teeth and endure it. All because that ice is tougher than my best shot. Ako had gotten a read on their relative strengths. Even if its volume of magical energy was identical, Snark's form, its mystic scale, was in a different league. Ako could change her energy to her absolute, or charge her energy to her absolute limit, and that would barely make a dent in the ice wall. Meanwhile, there was nothing she could do to prevent her own annihilation if the Snark gathered as much energy as it could. And before that happens, she loaded her next shot. She issued orders to the floating third layer. Ignoring the toll on her body, she began to accelerate the first layer formula. The role of her right hand single layer was to absorb and store surrounding magical energy. The thick fog that drifted through the park was an ancient ether spewed out by Flat Snark's own body, but Ako could pour it into her formula. Ako's body, which had integrated with the formula, took on an amount of magical energy that far surpassed its maximum capacity. It seethed in agony. Or rather, it trembled in delight. For a mage, magical energy was a propellant to reach the realm of mystics. The expansion of internal time, the liquefaction of the self, the release from the physical. They were all what one might call a near-death experience. On the precipice of what lay beyond, Ako stood firm and faced reality. Still, reality had come to break her will. The gap between them was plain to any observer. The gun barrel named Ako Aozaki had not a chance to chip away at that lump of ice. So, she accelerated the spell further. The skull grinned. That ice was no shield. It was a hammer to crush mages who did not know their place. The moon laughed as it prepared to crush not just Ako, but the boy atop the roller coaster as well as the park in its entirety. She's gonna let her rip? So what if it hurts? Dude, nice. She's bawling, she's going, she's cooking. Her circuits were on the verge of going critical. Her body had been charged with a scorching power supply from her fingertips to her eyeballs. She would see the bullet fired. She would arrange the Magecraft formula as quickly as her nerve's transmission speed would allow. A single attack was not enough. There was no way to shoot it from its flank, which meant there was only one solution. Reconnecting to alternating current, the third layer began to transform. It switched from direct to alternating current. The spell's supposed strong point was its ability to adjust its trajectory mid-flight, but right now all she wanted was numbers. Connecting. Octogram. All layers, max rotation. Oh, whoa. It's like a Tesla cannon. Or, oh my god. Is it going around? Oh no, it's enveloping it. Yeah, it is going around. A blue sun shined down upon the amusement park. Beams of light at maximum output streaked forth to pierce the golden moon. Holy shit. Oh my god. Pew, 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 pew. Is it carving through it? Yeah, it looks like it. Holding down the trigger, she continued to fire, taking an energy and infinitum, yeah. Can you eat that? How are you doing this without killing yourself? Blue flame shot forth at critical level, but the ice would neither melt nor mar. No amount of sheer heat could make a dent in something formed from such a colossal amount of magical energy. The toll on her circuit sent them berserk and blood began to run free. The spin should have been more than enough. He's just too strong. The battle had become a tussle over the magical energy that filled the park. From the very beginning, this had been the Snark's home turf. The Snark had control over at least 80% of the space, while Alco had 20 at best. No, I can't. Stop it! Oh no, it's gonna catch us. The castle of ice descended as if to call the match. All she could do was delay the inevitable. She knew that she had been backed into a wall, and right now, the only thing she could do was to keep firing. You might kill yourself. Then again, perhaps not. There was another option. If she converted all of her magical energy into a defense, there was a tiny chance. No, not tiny. A great possibility, in fact, that she could save just her... Shut up and do it already! Not even that ice has a chance against all the magical energy here. Clinging to that broken hope, Alco continued to rotate her circuits. Time seemed to stop at the magical energy overdose. A second of intense pain lasted an eternity. Then, amidst everything... Huh? Oh? Something approached, one step at a time. Something from among the park's shadows. Something. Wait. She felt goosebumps from head to toe. The issue was no longer the ice overhead. In the midst of this stillness, the Red Death drew closer, step by ominous step. Why here? Why now? Her circuits in her mind began to rupture out of terror. The composition of her formula and soul began to rip apart. There it was, just behind her. Its footsteps came to a halt. It reached around and cupped her face in its blood-stained hands. Greetings. She wanted to scream out with all her might. This is it. Nothing matters. I couldn't care less. Run or don't run, it doesn't matter. Quit hiding and reveal yourself. Use whatever you can and show no mercy. That was it. She had one final card to play. Once, a miracle had been gifted to her, almost as a joke. It made the ice look like child's play. That was what the Red Death had come to kill. Using it would spell ruin. Not using it would mean death by ice. Then why hesitate? There were no conditions on its use. There was no price to pay for its power. She simply would cease to be herself. That sounds like a price to pay. That was all. Humans loved to exist in areas of gray. Dozens of electrical impulses could disconnect in the brain every minute. Nothing lasts forever, not even oneself. It was not anything particularly worthy of disdain. It was not even anything remarkably worthy of being called taboo. Shut up. What escaped her lips now was rage, bewilderment from the red silhouette. The girl let out an inaudible scream. Could true magic truly be her savior? What an opportunistic load of bull. After all, to begin with, I have no clue how to do that shit yet. Indeed, Alco was still in the dark when it came to that magic, whatever it was. Okay. Oh, did it break? Did her circuits break? Ooh. Sojudo? Did she use it or did she not? I'm such a moron! She woke from her momentary hallucination. The very illusion of her breaking soul had shown her. Whining had had the opposite effect on her. Her pride was now ablaze. So you're going to run from this responsibility too? Sojudo was right. Her opponent had put her in check, but she had done the same to it. It was clear why she was losing. So now all she needed was a counterplan, well within her abilities. No matter the odds, she was not one to give up without giving it one last shot. That's right. Giving up only comes after you've tried absolutely everything. Her numbed fingers clenched into a tight fist. She was betting against the house, an unreasonable gamble that should have made her question her sanity. If her first step was off by an inch, her body would be instantly vaporized. But she knew a boy who never fled. She knew of a steadfast courage that could shine its light, no matter how small, through any desperate situation. Yes, there was more than just herself to be concerned about. If that ice fell, it would mean the destruction of the park in its entirety. Everything he had achieved, everything he had risked and dared and happily put his life on the line for, would all be for naught. Really? What possessed him to be so bullheaded? Determination and confidence surged through her like electricity. She was in no mood to be crushed by a giant sheet of ice. If she was going to lose, she'd rather do so as the grandest firework possible. Aoko was a sore loser. At this point, she would rather burn herself to cinders than let it decide her end. This is sick. This is sick. Holy shit. Look at that. Oh my god. Disconnect. Expand area. Reconnect. She grunted in pain. Energy raged through her body. I don't even know how this is possible. I don't know. I thought I knew the power scaling. This has blown it way completely out of proportion. I don't even know what this apparition that she keeps seeing is, this red silhouette, this thing that she's so terrified of, this magic that she doesn't know how to use. But here we are. I don't even know if she's using it. I think she is. Her circuits were on the verge of disintegration. Inscribed upon her body, her magic crest was magecraft given physical form. It did not, however, stop with simply skin and flesh. It burrowed to the very marrow of her bones. A playful smile graced her lips. Her sense of reason had been turned upside down by the pain. That was only natural. I can do this. She had to praise her own body for holding out so long while pushed beyond its limits. There's the skull. I can finally see it clearly now, with the eye as the moon is one of its eyes. The skull face noticed the abnormality. Oh, there it is! It finally recognized the challenge for dominance over this space. It laughed at the conceit it faced. Never did it expect a magician to challenge the great Flat Snark, Lord of Vessels, over a millennium, and in such an age of decline. She's so sick. She's so sick. Look at her. She's so sick. She tried to catch her breath. She braced herself for the coming pain. She was going to smash that ice to pieces. Both had access to the same amount of magical energy. One of them was greatly outmatched, but there was a difference in her output. If I'm losing because of the scale of energy absorption and the size of that barrel, then, or the size of the barrel, then the solution is simple. All I need to do is make the formula bigger and me with it. Reconnect bullet configuration. Oh, holy shit. Oh, this is massive. The feedback would go beyond anything she had experienced to date. Quite simply, her decision went beyond recklessness. She expanded both formula to maximum size. The first layer would transform into a giant vortex, swallowing up the mist. The second layer would process it from one end and pump it into her, the barrel. I was naive, thinking I could do something cute like shoot it down. What I need to do is blast it to hell. Oh, she got it like that? Primeval power answered the spellcaster's conviction. It formed the pattern of a writhing serpent. Voiceless magical power flew a banner of revolution. Now, look upon the earth, O venerable one. See now this pioneer, this first among trailblazers. She embodies a species that knows no fear, that renders not all manner of mystic and tradition. I'm done borrowing from you. You lying Bujo? Bujo? What a word! If you really want it, I'm more than happy to give it all back. For the newest magician commands the principles of consumption and extinction. Oh, dude, it's just a big, oh, dude, I thought she had a big laser before. Oh, this is just like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. An aberrant bullet of light melted through the castle of ice. The barrel held fast. Her control of magical energy was, chef's kiss, mwah, divine. 100,000 miles of veins, equal to 2.5 times the circumference of the earth, hungrily drank in the magical energy. The subsequent magical strike hurtled straight up at the moon. Oh, no, 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 no! Death rose from the moon's surface. A cry of indignant terror echoed through the abandoned park. Reality was burned into the eyes of this creature of fantasy. To Aoko, its vain struggle was the taste of victory. Victory despite her absolute reckless use of magical energy. The energy scales had been tipped to their breaking point, but nevertheless in her favor. Bullet configuration. Okay, Blacklight, Starbow, Total Eclipse Converge. I don't know which of the pieces of text I'm supposed to read, but Blacklight, Starbow. Tear it a new one. Oh, dude, not. Oh my God, she what is it called? She black flashed them from JJK. Dude, it really hit them with the. Holy shit! Shatter, 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 shatter. The skyscraper scattered into atomized dust. The island, its unattainability extolled, had swallowed whole the despair of its many challengers. Long had it proudly eluded mankind's intellect. Oh, right in the face, yeah. Yeah, right in the face. Directly into the eye. Boom. Yeah. Yet now Azure Mist bemoaned its demise. In the sky, the icy canopy crumbled. The Snark hunting bullet jumped over the moon. Its throes of death sounded like the roaring sea, reverberating across this fairy tale land. The battle was over. The thick fog dissipated and the shattered ice melted away before it hit the ground. A lethal bullet unseated the Night King from his throne, affording him no time to grieve his loss. The oil of the moon, the untouched Flat Snark, the dreamscape that had begun with its resurrection ended with its demise, drawing a close to the nightmare. Well, guys, that's all the time that I have for today. Holy shit, I've said this before. I am not completely lost, but the sense of scale, how everything works, like where all of the... I just want to know more about the intricacies of the fight that just happened, essentially. I'm sure I'll be told everything, and I'm sure eventually I'll be like, wow, this is way too much information, but I can't say anything other than that was so sick. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I definitely did, and I will see you guys in the next video. So for now, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye!